Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
All righty, good Monday evening to you. Hope everybody's having a nice Monday evening. Odds are, well, you're not. We're seeing a lot of power outages that are rivaling the ice storm in 1998. At last check, I think there were about 340,000, 350,000. That might be coming down a little bit here. But hopefully after this quick little digital studio, a quick little weather extra on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well. You can conserve your batteries on your phone if you do not have power. The good news is it's not terribly cold tonight, so we're not looking at a flash freeze or any major problems for folks without power as far as heat goes. But I'll tell you, what a storm system, though, right? This one brought a lot of wind. This one brought a lot of rain. Flooding concerns continue as we go into the overnight hours. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you are tonight. I appreciate you checking in. We're going to quickly shift our attention from the strong winds over to the flooding. Flooding in the mountains, I think the mountains get hit particularly hard out of this one. There are some spots that are just impassable. Flooding is a real problem through the western mountains of Maine and White Mountains in New Hampshire. I was just checking out some of the hydrology reports, and a new update here. The Saco River at Conway is now at 7 feet. That's the 5th all-time crest. The Androscoggin River at Rumford is at major flood stage currently. It just climbed to 21 feet. That's the 3rd all-time crest for the Androscoggin River at Rumford. This is a serious event here. Swift River at Roxbury peaked at 14 feet. That is the number one spot, the number one highest crest ever recorded there. And these go way back to the 1930s, so big deal. Carrabassett River at Anson, 3rd all-time currently, and it's still cranking up there at 23 feet. In major flood stage here. So we're going to talk about that in just a second here. Let's take a look at, I want to show you some video coming in from, there's a friend of mine up in New Hampshire. Andrew Drummond sent me this video this afternoon. Have you ever been to Jackson Falls, the Wildcat River in Jackson, New Hampshire? This is the way it looked this afternoon. Andrew took this video. There's 2 sets of videos here. It looks almost identical to Hurricane Irene, August of 2011. The difference with this one, we had between 4 and 6 inches of rain over the last 24 hours, and this area in the Mount Washington Valley got a lot of snow melt as well. So major problems occurring in the mountains tonight. This was the view this afternoon from Jackson Falls. Thanks, Andrew, who sent me that. This is a photo coming in from, not sure who took this photo, but Beaver. This is the Bear River Road in Newry. Now, if you've ever driven up to Sunday River, you've driven by this river. This is the river that goes under the covered bridge right there. We've seen video of the river going and just basically hitting the bottom of that covered bridge. There is a truck submerged. There are 2 cars that are half submerged in this, and I'm happy to report there are no occupants in that those cars right there. So good news there. I am receiving reports still of Swift River rescues that are ongoing in the Bethel and Newry area. So I'm told folks are trapped in that area on the roofs of their houses and in vehicles. That was an update that came in about an hour ago. So I'm assuming that is continuing at the 8 o'clock hour here. So that's something that is a real problem up in that area. The road washed out to the Grand Summit Hotel. If you just joined us for the Facebook Live that we did, right around, must have been 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. It was probably 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's how we found out about it. We were right here, and folks were chiming in saying, "Hey, Charlie, have you seen the video of the road washout?" It's basically the Bear River that goes right through Sunday River. The access road right there washed out the roadway in that area. That's the one that I hope the bridge is in good shape, the covered bridge in Newry as well. At last check, I haven't seen any damage to the bridge. But the water was right up to it. It was pretty incredible video coming in from that area. Tim sent us this one from Saco. A lot of trees down. We've had reports of 2 people have passed away. 2 people have died due to wind damage in today's storm system here. So the storm has turned deadly. Nobody likes to see that. I'm happy to report the wind, however, has subsided. So we're not going to see any more strong winds tonight, but we will continue to see the flooding, ongoing flooding issues continue. We're going to touch on that in a second. Andrew sent us this one, Andrew Wheeler, who I think is the father of Sam Wheeler, who is one of our producers here. Looks like a big old tree that went down in Greenwood, Maine, up near it's up near Mount Abram. Okay, so as far as peak wind gusts go, no real surprises. Most towns got into that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. There are some areas that overperform. Look at Augusta, 68 miles per hour. Wiscasset, 62. Rockland, 52 miles per hour. These are peak wind gusts today. I went through all the METAR reports, and this is what came out. These are observing stations, mostly at airports. These are calibrated wind sensors or anemometers in wide open areas that get the strongest winds. So these are probably your most accurate wind reports you're going to get. Mount Washington gusts to 132 miles per hour. Of course, we know it's always windy up there. But southeast winds, you got to respect that south-southeast wind. That was the world record wind, 231 miles per hour. It was out of the southeast. Of course, that was an April wind. Winds right now, they have subsided considerably. So I'm not concerned about winds anymore. It looks like the worst of the winds have moved out. And Bangor is still gusting to 46 miles per hour, but the wind has shifted over to the west and northwest. You may have noticed we've changed wind directions over the last couple of hours here. Let's take a look at where we are with the satellite radar and kind of make out this area of low pressure that is making its way north. Winds, they rotate kind of clockwise around low pressure. So the center of low pressure is up in here tonight, and that wind is kind of working its way on the backside. Winds out of the southwest now, out ahead of the storm system. The winds are out of the southeast. That's why we have strong southeast winds, and our strongest fetch comes in off the ocean. So coastal areas, central Maine, mid-coast Maine, you saw the strongest winds in this setup, which is fairly typical in these sort of setups here. This is, we knew going into Friday, it was funny. Nothing's funny about strong winds. But starting on Friday, we really started saying, okay, there's a very good chance we're going to get gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour with a 115 knot low-level jet at about 4,000 or 5,000 feet in elevation. And some of that did mix down to the ground level. So no major surprises with this one. But as far as the outages go, I think a lot of folks are going to be in the dark into and through the day tomorrow. So hopefully your cell phones are charged and you can your gas is in the generators, or maybe gas is in the cars, but hopefully we're well prepared. That's what we're getting at here. All right, back edge of the rain is exiting off to the northeast tonight. There is a flash flood warning that remains in effect. The Weather Service is keeping this one going until 1 a.m. We've seen reports of ongoing considerable flash flooding in this area here, and I think we're particularly concerned with this region right here. We've heard just within the last hour, there's still some ongoing Swift River water rescues occurring in that area, which doesn't happen that often here in Maine. So this is a real big problem. We saw that the Carrabassett River in Anson is up at it's still rising at last check. It's third all-time crest right up in here as well. So flash flooding is occurring up in here. Let's see, we have the Swift River in Roxbury, which is right up in here, which reached the all-time crest. Looks like the Saco River at Conway is still producing problems as well. And at last check, that was still on its way up as well. Let's take a look at Doppler HD radar estimates. This is crazy. This, usually we're forecasting 4 to 6 inches of snow in the mountains. We had 4 to 6 inches of rain today. This is an estimate of a bullseye, which looks like it occurred right near Gilead, just to the east of Gorham, New Hampshire. You can see why Sunday River area, Newry, was hit particularly hard, close to 5 inches of rain estimate there. This up into the Rangeley area, close to 4 inches in that little bullseye right there. Mount Washington's right about there, close to 3.5 inches. Carrabassett Valley is right up in here, close to 3 inches of rain. So not only are these areas in the mountains dealing with extreme heavy rainfall, they're also dealing with snowmelt. A few more bullseyes closer to the coastline in York County and Cumberland County, close to 5 inches of rain, indicated by the Doppler radar there as well. Now, let's run through some of the river flood warnings. At the Saco River at Conway, And hopefully we can take a look at this in more detail in just a second here. But each one of these little polygons represent a river flood warning. Sauk River at Conway is now at 17 feet, which is the fifth all-time crest in that area. I thought it might get into the top 10. It's getting into the top 5. And we also have river flood warnings for the Presumpscot in Westbrook as well. Basically, the entire length of the Androscoggin River, starting up in Berlin, Gorham, New Hampshire, going all the way down Route 2 there through Rumford, Mexico. There we have a significant flooding occurring as well. This is a fairly new update coming in from the Androscoggin River at Rumford. We're now at 21 feet for the Androscoggin River at Rumford, which is now the third all-time crest there in Rumford. And I mean, that's a major flooding occurring in Rumford right now. So this is going to be a big problem throughout the overnight in that area. Third all time, and these go way back. This includes the 1936 flood. This includes the 1987 flood. This includes Irene. This includes some serious flooding events. So if you follow the river all the way down to Lewis and Auburn, we have river flood warnings that remain in effect right there. We're not expecting any all-time in that area, at least at last check. The Kennebec River, Augusta, Hollowell. We'll have to watch Hollowell. Hollowell is supposed to be up there into the day tomorrow. Some of the bigger rivers, the deeper rivers, they are more reactive, or less reactive, I should say. The more reactive ones, this is the Wildcat again. If you're just joining us on Facebook, this coming in from the Wildcat River, which runs through Jackson, New Hampshire. This is Jackson Falls. If you've ever been there on a tranquil day, it's a great place to have lunch and maybe take the dog for a walk. That was not the case today. Andrew Drummond sent me this video. These are two pieces of video that look almost identical to Hurricane Irene or Tropical Storm Irene when it came up in August of 2011. I have the file video from that storm. I may have used it in one of these Facebook Lives. Actually, I use it in a lot of my school presentations. But Hurricane Irene, it's almost identical how Jackson Falls looked today to what it did August of 2011. Bear River Road in Newry. I mean, I just really feel for some of the ski resorts here going into Christmas week. I have no doubt they're going to bounce back. I mean, they're going to be making a lot of snow. They're going to be repairing the roadways up there into Sunday River, Sugarloaf. Route 27, I was told, had to be shut down for a while today due to the flooding on the Carrabassett River. I mean, this is not what you want to see going into Christmas week. And forget that. I mean, skiing and snowboarding is one thing, but in some cases, this is life-threatening tonight. So this is something we need to be focused on throughout the overnight hours. Back edge of the rain is moving out. Tomorrow is going to be a brighter day. It looks very nice tomorrow. Temps will be in the 40s. Could be a shower in the mountains, rain or snow. But I think most areas get in the 40s. The cool down starts to get going tomorrow night. I'm not concerned about a flash freeze overnight. We're probably talking about high temperatures on Wednesday, right around 40 degrees. And then by Thursday, I think many areas will have a hard time getting out of the low 30s by Thursday. So Thursday will be quite a bit cooler. Notice some low 30s at about 12:30 in the afternoon here. So we haven't talked a lot about the forecast. Forecast looks great. It really does. No big storms in the forecast. If you're like me, you want some snow on the ground for Christmas, but I don't think it's going to happen unless some miracle somehow happens here. We're talking about a sunny stretch, and it's not just any old sunny stretch. It's a stretch filled with just about unlimited sunshine. Notice the cool down with lows in the teens, highs in the 30s. In the extended forecast, there's Santa on Monday with some sun returning. Temperatures should be in the 40s, so it shouldn't be a terribly cold Christmas this time around here. If you're just joining us on the Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, thanks for joining us first off. We've been just trying to highlight the flooding situation throughout Maine and New Hampshire, which is going to be ongoing into and through the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at some of those river flood warnings for a moment here. And maybe we can shift gears. This might be a good time to shift gears. Maybe we can go over to, see if we can do this. I'm going to try to switch gears and go over to the internet for a minute. Stop screen. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Hang tight for one sec. Share screen. We're going to go to the hide. Yes, share. All right. All right. So what do we have here? This is, all right. This is the Androscoggin River at Rumford. Now it's hard to look at here, but we're looking at 21 feet for a current stage at the Androscoggin River at Rumford, and it looks like it's still rising. And historic crests take us to the third all time. That would be right behind 1987. That was a big flood in Rumford. I have pictures of that. It was April 1st, 1987, and the major flood. If you follow hydrology reports at all in New England, this number one is 1936. That was the number one big one that all the floods are measured by around here for not only Maine but all of New England. The 36 flood was something else. So right now we're at third, and it looks like in Rumford the all-time is 24 feet. We're currently at 21 feet. The second all-time was 23 feet, and we just passed 1895 in Rumford. 1895. That was the April 15th storm of 1895. We passed 1953. We passed 1984. So some real major floods are occurring, have occurred in that area. All right, let's go up to, this is an impressive one as well. This is the Saco River at Conway, still rising at last check. It's at 17.52 feet, and all-time crest. We're at major flood stage. All-time crest. Oh, wow. We just came into the number 2 spot. Is that right? Yes. I think we're in the number 2 spot right now. So let's just take a look at that. Yes. All right. So we are in the number 2 spot. We just passed Irene in 2011. We're just behind the March 1979 flooding event. So we're in major flooding occurring right now. Saco River at Conway. We're in the number 2 spot for all-time crests. That is incredible. Let's go back and look at a few more major flood events that are occurring. This one, Conway. I always have to keep an eye on this one as well. This one is expected to crest at 22 feet. This is this is Plymouth, New Hampshire. I went to Plymouth State, and I remember our practices would sometimes be canceled when the river flooded right there. So they're expecting the river to get up to 22 feet, and the historic, that would be in the top 5 all-time crests, it looks like there. So folks up in that area, that's going to be a big deal. Let's look at Rumford. Oh, we just looked at Rumford. Those of you in Auburn, let's look at Auburn here. The river is basically almost heading into minor flood stage, is expected to stay in minor flood stage at 18 feet. That would take us, all right. That would take us to if it makes it to 18 feet, that would be the 4th all-time crest for the Androscoggin River at Auburn. So I did not see that earlier. That would be an impressive crest as well. Let's go down to the Kennebec now. Let's see if we can get that one. Hollowell looks pretty impressive here. Hollowell is forecast to crest tomorrow at 17.3 feet. And the all-time crest, yes. Wow. All right. So that would be an all-time, that would be the number 1 spot. That would be an all-time crest for Hollowell. If it does make it to 17 feet, and that will be late tonight. Actually, that will be tomorrow 8 a.m. It looks like just before 8 a.m. So we're going to keep an eye on that area as well. Let's go to Augusta now. Augusta is right behind here. The forecast is for the Kennebec River to reach 23 feet, which would be the 4th all-time crest in Augusta. So we'll be watching Front Street, of course. We're going to keep an eye on that area.